Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Different episode today. I've been asked a few times about the tactic I've been using and can I do a video, so I thought I would do one. I've used this tactic for the majority of my series and online games, and in the versus mode, the versus competition that I played down in London against some other content creators, which I actually won. So I thought, yeah, I'll do a video. Disclaimer right now, I'm not a tactic whiz kid. I don't claim to know everything about the engine and the tactics played. This is a style of football that I like to play in real life, and it's worked out quite nicely. And thirdly, I know that I'm Manchester United, but as I said, I won this competition being Manchester United against other people that were playing with Manchester City, Barcelona, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Juventus. So I do get it. Yes, you should be able to win with most tactics, but people have asked for it, and I thought, fuck it, I'll put it on. So let's get into it and we'll go through. I'll show you a few little clips. I'll show you the basis of it. I'll show you a few stats as well. And anything you want to ask, leave it down in the comments. I am going to upload it to Steam as well. So if you want to use it, it's there to use. Right guys, let's dive in. Right, so here we are on a tactic screen. The basis of 4-2-3-1, as I said, it's quite direct. I always tend to play direct. I don't care too much for tiki-taka, especially in FM. It's just quite boring to watch. And it's a tactic that you can pretty much do at any level. I have found when we play the big teams, especially when we play teams like City and stuff, we do seem to counter-attack them very, very well because we play quite direct. If they've pushed quite high up the field and they've been keeping the ball in our half, I found that we win the ball back and we counter really well. We hit the channels very early, especially when we've got the two wide men both on attack as well. They stay quite high and quite wide. It does help us break very quickly. I found this also worked very well in the versus mode. So people that are playing online against mates, I played a versus mode competition down in London with Bidstack, who were the company behind the advertising in-game. Content creators there was Lelujo there, FM Guru there, Access Euphoria, Fryman7, a few bloggers as well. I did find that because most of the others chose to do tiki-taka, this was a perfect tactic to set up against them. Yes, they had success. Yes, conceded a few goals. But I did find we were able to hurt teams very, very quickly. What would happen is they would build up pressure. They would keep the ball inside our half, pass. We would win, and then we would break very quickly, mainly down to the wingers, Zaha, Martial, and having a very good advance forward. I did play Rashford a lot in the second half. So when teams got tired, I did find playing Rashford coming on in the second half. That did seem to work as well. One tweak that I do like to make sometimes, we do go to a 4-2-4. When I played someone in the versus mode, he was playing with Liverpool with two defensive midfielders. I can't think what roles they were on. I think one was a playmaker, and then one might have been a Segundo Volante. I think could have been. I'm not too sure, but anyway, he played with two holding midfielders, and I found that Pogba in the first game, he didn't hardly had any touches. He wasn't getting involved in play at all, so we went even more direct. And I played a pressing forward. I think it's a pressing forward, isn't it? Yeah, pressing forward and advance forward. So in the versus mode competition, obviously I didn't have Kane. I think I went for Sanchez and Rashford. I think I went for Lukaku. Lukaku was advanced forward and Rashford as a pressing forward. That worked quite well. I think everything else in terms of instructions is exactly the same. It's just a case of moving that shadow striker and putting him in as a pressing forward. Right. The mentality is positive. It's always positive. I tend not to fiddle with it too much. It's more of a mind game thing for me. I always want my players to take risks anyway, regardless of who we're playing. When you're a team as good as what I am as Manchester United, I don't believe that you need to go cautious. We always go positive. I have found that playing cautious stops them playing them attempted 60-yard passes into the channels. They do play a little bit sideways, and we don't counter as well. Even though people might think, yeah, going cautious, you can counter pretty well. It doesn't seem to work because you need that one. If you're going to counter and you're going to play direct, you need that one player to pick the ball up and play not a punt into the channels, but you need someone to have the quality to play them passes into space into the channels. We've got it quite wide as well because we want the boys. We wanted to play the Manchester United way as well. So obviously being high and wide, what I like my wingers to do naturally. That's what we've done. Approach play, pass into space. I think that's a natural thing of gegenpress. This was actually a gegenpress tactic at the start, and then obviously I've tweaked it that much that it's changed into a custom. Play out of defence is key for me. We didn't have it on at the start, and the goalkeeper was just punting the ball way too long. So I thought one way of counteract that was to play out of defence. So that's what we've done. We've put it on play out of defence, and it works quite well. So it goes into the 2 centre halves, and then they look for, because we've changed it. This was a ball winning midfielder at first. We've now changed it to a deep line playmaker, which means he drops in and gets the ball off the centre halves, and then we can play from there. He'll often then pick out the striker, or he'll pick out the shadow striker or the 2 wingers. It works a lot better. We seem to not be so gung-ho in putting the ball into the channels every time. It does allow us to create a little bit and to pass through the thirds a little bit better. Passing directness on, more direct pressing, which I think you'd expect. Tempo extremely high, because once again, this was a gegenpress tactic to start with. Time wasting never. I did have hit early crosses on at first and work into the box, because we did have a lot of shots outside the box, but I just found just keeping it a little bit vanilla has worked quite well. The early crosses did find us crossing them a little bit too early. Often the wingers were setting the ball back to the fullbacks, and they were crossing from 40, 50 yards out, and it was coming back a lot. I did find that we need to allow the box-to-box midfielder, we need to allow the winger on the other side to get into the box as well. When we build play a little bit better, it just gives us that extra time to get more bodies in the box. Run at defence I normally have on, but I found that I don't need to do that. To be fair, I only want the 2 wide men to do it anyway, and they will naturally do it, especially when you've got players like Martial and Zaha, Lingard, Rashford. They'll naturally run with the ball, so there's no need to put that on. And then creative freedom, like every team that I have on FM, I always want them to express themselves, so we always have that clicked regardless of who I am. Right, in transition, I think this is all pretty basic gegenpress stuff, so counter press when we've lost it, and then counter attacking when we've won it. The one on the right, the second one, when possession has been won, that's worked. We have seen a little bit of success from that when we play the poorer teams. We found that we nicked the ball quite well off the centre halves. We've nicked it off the goalkeepers a fair bit, off the fullbacks, and then we're in. But I found this one especially when we win the ball and then we go quite quickly. We do see, because these 3 here, the 3 attacking midfielders are all on attack, they do charge forward very quickly and support the striker. And in goalkeeper in possession, we've kept that one blank. I've also found that once we've changed this now, so the goalkeeper distributes to the centre half, it doesn't go long. I think it was distribute to the flanks at the start. We just found ourselves going a little bit too direct and getting caught out a little bit. De Gea is not the greatest in the world at passing the ball as well. I just found this was another opportunity for us to build play a little bit better, and we've got short kicks on, just so once again it encourages him to kick the ball out to the centre halves, and that has worked. We've had it going about a season and a half, and that has really worked. Out of position, I think once again, things you'd expect. Offside trap, because we're pushing up very high and we're pressing high, so we should be able to get up the pitch. We shouldn't have to drop off. Yes, we're very, very high, but once again, we've got the sweeper keeper in. I found that we've not been caught out much. Yes, balls go over the top, but we're quite quick at the back, and David De Gea, or Henderson actually, does sweep up pretty well. But it's not been a real issue, to be honest. I've not seen us constantly getting caught out from balls over the top. Defensive width on standard, I always on standard. I'm always curious that it's just a thing that I ever made it, that the fullbacks are not great at stopping crosses. So if we went too narrow, naturally the play would then be forced out wide to the wingers, and then more crosses would come into the box. And I always think on FM you get a great success from balls into the box from wingers and from crosses. So I decided to have that on standard, and then it just keeps us a little bit more, as I said, well, what it says, standard, and it doesn't allow the player to go out wide as much. It does encourage it to go through the middle, and once again, because we've got 2 quality centre-halves, 2 awesome centre midfielders, we should win the ball just as well. Passing and tackling, use tighter marker, I always have that on. Pressing intensity, extremely urgent. It does drain the players, not a great deal, but the idea is that you need to build a squad around this gegenpress. It does drain the players a little bit, especially when you're a big team and you're in Champions League, cut on all the cups. We've been in a quadruple race this season in the save, so we've played a shit ton of games. So it is good to rotate players when you can. Full-backs are the main ones, and the ball-win midfielder is a main one. The shadow striker, Pogba's not great at keeping fit, and obviously the 2 wingers as well. So we have a decent amount of players in the squad to be able to rotate that. Prevent short distribution. I always want their goalkeeper to kick it long, especially when we're so big. With players like Koulibaly, John Stones, Eric Dyer, Matuidi, Milinkovic-Savic, Pogba. I want him to kick it straight down our throat so we can get the ball back. That works quite well. And then tackling, people always say, every time I get a player sent off on the series, they always say, you shouldn't have it on, get stuck in. And I always say, well, no, because that's how I want my team to play. I want my midfielders to get stuck in. Yes, we run the risk of getting sent off, but nothing too stupid. I think we've had 4 or 5 this year, but once you've played 60 odd games like we have, I've not found it been too much of a problem. Right, that's the tactic. They're the instructions. What I'm going to show you now is a couple of team stats. I won't do the player stats. We'll just go and very quickly look at the team stats for you. Right, so as you can see, an absolute shit ton of goals, which you kind of expect. We're Manchester United and we're playing attacking football and we won the league. So, but 101 is still an impressive number. This one's an interesting one, even though we are playing quite direct. 53% possession, the highest been 58. But the best one is this one. Passes completed. We are down in 17th. With a 76 passing percent record. So, but as you can see, we're down with teams that have had 45%, 47%. Liverpool are quite low as well, but that's probably because they played a similar style to what we do. So that's quite interesting that it just shows directness works. I haven't found that when we play the lower teams, we still go quite direct, but we go direct quite early. I think you would find it more of a problem to break the lesser teams down if you were playing a slow build-up. I think because we're quite aggressive in our build-up and we attack very quickly, it doesn't give the team the chance to settle once we've run the ball back. It doesn't give them the chance to get their 2 banks of 4 in, or even a bank of 5 in. Wolves always play a bank of 5 and then a bank of 5 at the back, and then 2 defensive midfielders as well. So I found this tactic suits teams that are sitting off and teams that are going at us, especially in the bigger games. Shots on target. We've had a lot of shots on target, mild clear, but that's because we're creating more chances than anyone else. It's not too much of what you'd expect. Fouls against, 490. Fouls made, 563. Top of the league. 77 yellow cards. I think we've probably got the most yellow cards as well. Have we got the most yellow cards? Yeah, we have. We got the most yellow cards. 4 red cards as well. Very committed, but tackles won once again. Most fouls made, but the most tackles won. And our tackles win ratio, 82%. It's still not bad, is it? But that was always going to be the case, especially those 2 tackles won. We're pressing very high, we're working very hard, we're getting stuck in, so they were going to be natural stats. I don't mind them, to be honest. Some people will, but I don't mind that we're giving fouls away. Not a problem at all. Right, guys, so I'm going to show you a couple of games. I'm going to show you this one first. The Barcelona game. It was the semi-final first leg. So obviously decent opponents. So this is the first goal. A shot's come in from Piqué, I think. And look, he's rolled it out to the Suna centre-halves. Milinkovic-Savic is coming really deep for it. Even the shadow striker, Lingard's playing as a shadow striker in this game. He's coming deep for it. And then there's the direct pass. See, a fantastic pass from Martial. So it just shows that even though we're going more direct, once again, we're not doing it too early. We are trying to play a little bit of football. And this one here, once again, you can see we're playing with the ball. Now, if I had these two, if I had it on attack, you would probably expect Luke Shaw to be getting right up here. But because he's on support, he's kind of holding his position a little bit better, picking his opportunity to go. And then once again, if we did lose the ball now, Dalot's in a decent position to get himself back in. And Luke Shaw's not a million miles away. He's still in line with Dembele, so he's not going to get caught out. But this was a goal. Once again, it was an awesome pass. It's our midfielders that are doing it. Does get a little bit lucky, but it's our midfielders doing it and not our defenders playing them long balls into the channels for our strikers and our wide men to run onto. Right, so this is a 5-1 victory over Chelsea that we had in the league. Is this just this stat this highlight that I want you to show you from the goal? We end up scoring from here, so it's pretty much from not far. It's only 2 minutes into the game. They're moving the ball. We're pressing quite high. We forced Rudiger to go all the way back home, and once again, we've said that we want to prevent the goalkeeper from playing short, and he's done. He's gone long. We win 1 header, 2 headers, 3 headers, and then we clip the ball in. Once again, a fantastic pass and finish. So there's the joy of playing it long, especially when we've got 2 centre halves playing that are really tall, centre midfielders, Pogba big as well. We've managed to win 3 headers there, and we're in on goal. Right, here's the one where the fullbacks do get forward. So this is like 5 minutes into the game, this one. So once again, even though he's got a little bit of pressure around him, he's got Pizzi behind him. Milinkovic-Savic has come in for it. We've got our 2 centre halves splitting because they want the ball. We are quite wide, obviously, in our build up. The fullbacks are quite high. We've got Mendy and who was on the other side, it'll be Dalot that. So we've got fullbacks high to start with, but we have got our 2 holding midfielders very deep. And this does allow the ball to come into Milinkovic-Savic. He sweeps a lovely ball out to the fullbacks and then we're off. Mendy's a lot better than Luke Shot doing this. He's played a nice 1-2 and he's still going, and he's played an Harry Kane, and there he goes. So we do get the fullbacks forward at some point. We are trying to build a play, even though once again it's direct. We've played 3 or 4 or 5 quick passes. I think the key to it is quick passes. The ball's not been slowed down. We've played it very, very quickly. Right, so remember this highlights. Remember what we spoke about with not going too direct, and also sometimes building play up a little bit slower so we can get bodies in the box. This ball will eventually go into the goalkeeper, I think. Yep, so Milinkovic-Savic wins it well. Goes back to the goalkeeper at some point. We're keeping it quite nicely. Look, no, we're not rushing it. We're not punting the ball forward just yet. We've managed to keep possession and we've managed to get ourselves out of that. Chelsea were pretty much pressing with 4 players then, so we've done quite well. Dalot's put the ball in behind to Lingard. And then as you can see now, shadow striker Pogba on his bike. That'll be Kane. That'll be Eric Dyer, the ball winning midfielder. Martial once again on his bike. Lingard does well. And then at this point we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly even 5. Milinkovic-Savic is trying to get a look at Mendy. Mendy's going to get in there. So any balls that are coming back out, you would expect Mendy or Milinkovic-Savic to get on the end of. And ball in the box. And it was actually Milinkovic-Savic that puts the ball in. So there you have it, guys. I think I've shown you a few clips there. It shows the tactic working both ways. There's a couple of goals which I'm not going to show you, which is just basically Koulibaly picking up the ball and launching the ball over the top. But it does show that we do create a little bit. We do pass the ball a little bit. It's not completely gung-ho. As I said, I'm not claiming to be a whiz. People have asked for it. People were quite curious at the competition that I've played in, the tactic that I was playing, especially having Pogba in that shadow striker role. But his stats, I'll very quickly show you his stats. So Paul Pogba's stats are 26 goals, 22 goals and 23 goals in as a shadow striker. He's done very, very well. Very well indeed. People were curious about the role that he was playing. I think it's a role that he should really play in more. And I think you've seen it more since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took over. He is getting it inside that 6-yard box a lot more. So, thank you very much for watching. Keep saying, disclaimer, I'm not claiming to be a manager whiz kid. To be fair, I've done quite well at FM19. Normally, I get sacked more often than not. People have asked. I've had 4 or 5 people ask through Discord, through a couple of comments in the vids and a couple in the stream last week. So I thought, yeah, I'll do it. If you've enjoyed today's episode, today's tactic video, please drop a like in there. And feel free to ask any questions, anything else that you want to see. I will put a link to the Steam Workshop. So if you want to download a tactic, you can. If you do use it, let me know how you get on with it. I have used this in other series as well. So I'm currently using it in my Journeyman. I won a treble with Genk. As part of the Journeyman with Baggio, and it's working quite well with Sevilla as well at the moment. So it's not just down to me being Manchester United. I think it is generally a decent tactic. I think directness does work pretty damn well this year in FM19. But as I said, thank you very much for watching, and if you are new, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you at the next one. Cheers boys, see you later.